Hello everyone, my name is Zaram, and this is a tutorial for 2.12.375 of Cosplay Evolved, which is an ARK mod. So if you're interested in the mod, there is a link down below. There's also a link to my Discord. I highly recommend that you join that Discord because there's tons of people that are there willing to help you with any problems. That's where you should go to report a bug, to get it looked at the quickest, so forth and so forth. There's just many reasons to go and look at that Discord. It's also where you can commission more parts to be made if you want any parts to be added. Now then, let's go ahead and get into the mod. The first thing you're going to want to do is go into your engrams, and you will see that there is a cosplay mirror, and that cost is configurable, and there also is cosplay scissors. So we'll get into the scissors in a little bit. I'll go ahead and give those to myself. And we're going to start off with the cosplay mirror. So when you access it for the first time, it will likely desaturate your skin because that is because, well, it uses a texture that is desaturated so you can have more true colors. For instance, if you go to the body, you can go back and forth like this, and it gets you a true red if you go like that, which is very nice. But of course, if you want a skin color, you can just put it a bit more like this. Now then, so there's multiple different sections once you open this up. There's 4 different ones. There's part customization, body customization, bone customization, and armor customizations. We're gonna start with body. So with the body, you can see that you can change your body color, and then to change your eye color, you just click eyes like that, and then you can change your eye color however you like it. You can also type in values, so like 12.5. Well, that won't work because these only allow for whole values. So if I do 12 or 10 or whatever you want, it'll let you put that in. These, obviously, they say unused, so they're not used. And then you have palms, hair. Now, when you do your hair, bear in mind this is the hair texture that is on the model. If you want to actually set the actual hair, then you go up here and hit set color. So for the head hair, let's say I want it blue, then you can see that's the actual hair. Let's put the length up a bit so you can kind of see that that's the actual hair. But let's say we want to match that hair below, so we'll just make it red. Facial hair, like so. But let's say I want to change the style. Well, you can do that from here. You can do like romantic, head, and let's do a romantic beard, like so. Very nice. I'm actually gonna turn this to black, like so. Awesome. Now then, with the facial hair or head hair, you can hide it if you don't want it to be shown. So you can go ahead and hide it like that, or like that. Or you can stop the growth with these things right here. Now, let's move into the player scale. It starts at 1, and that's going to be your, if you want compatibility, 1 is going to be your best interest. Although you can configure this to be more than 0.5 or 2, I recommend against it because the higher, the more extreme you get in size difference, the crazier, or the weirder ARK begins to act. So even 2 is a bit much. I would probably only go as much as 1.5. But if we go ahead and put it as 2, and I hit save and close, you'll see that your character is now much bigger than your average ARK character. So that does work. Save and close. Also, if you made a mistake, there is a save without closing that just won't save any changes that you've made. Now let's move on to the ability key. So there are some toggleable abilities, and we will get into those later in the parts menu. And this is how you set it. So say you want to change it from R plus Alt to something else. You can go ahead and set the key by clicking it and then clicking whatever key you want. Obviously I don't want left mouse button. I want I'm just gonna set it back to R, but you can set it to any key that you want. And then you can change a modifier if you so please. I'm just gonna do Alt R because that's fine. And then we will move on to the skin texture. Firstly, to maneuver around this preview, you can hold down left mouse and that will rotate it. And if you hold down right mouse, it will change the location of it. So say you wanted to zoom in on the face, you go like that, and then scroll wheel to zoom in. Like so. And then we will go ahead and move on to the different textures. As you change the texture, it will update what these say down here, so you can kind of see what each region will do. We're just gonna go ahead and stick to skin for now. And before we go any further, I want you to take note of these two things down here. Unfortunately, in-game light does affect this preview here. So in order to kind of help that, there is a brightness bar here that you can change for the brightness. I may end up lowering the maximum and minimum for that, but for now that's what it is. And same thing for the resolution. If there is a bit on the bottom of your screen that's kind of like glitching, like it kind of fades down into nothingness or something like that, then you need to lower your resolution. However, if you don't see any of that, like here, I don't see any of that, I can raise it all the way up, and mine's fine because I have a really big monitor. So I keep mine all the way up. Those two settings will save for you, so you can kind of just set it and forget it. Back to the body customizations, let's go ahead and move up to the gender. You can actually change your gender by simply clicking that. It'll ask you, are you sure? Because you will lose all bone and part customizations. And then yes. And it will change your gender to a female. When you hit save and close, it will put you back through the spawn up animation. And it will give you back all of your items that you previously had. I didn't really have any items on me. But yeah. So let's put myself back to a male for simplicity's sake. And actually the reason it removed my scissors is because of that, but it won't do that in game. That's just a dev kit thing because it's being really weird. So we'll move on to up here. So you may have seen in my mod that it has incorporated the Jack and Jill mod. Do not install the Jack and Jill mod. This mod acts as a replacement for the Jack and Jill mod. If you install the Jack and Jill mod, you will encounter many bugs, and there's nothing I can do about that. Simply uninstall Jack and Jill and install this one. And all you have to do to change through the different models is click this. And as you can see, it's just that easy. You can just choose what you like and what you don't like. Now then, now that we've taken a look at this, we're going to go into part customizations. If you click select part category, you'll see that there's loads of options here. One of which is remove all parts. Much like the other one, it gives you an are you sure message, and then you hit yes if you're sure, or no if you're not sure. But let's go through the customizations. So let's say you want to add a wolf head. and then you're like, ah, my hair is still there. Don't worry, that's not a bug, that's intended. What if you wanted your wolf to have hair? Well, you could go back to the hair here and change the location, rotation, or scale. So you select that, and you could move it back and down, whoops, down, grow it out a bit more. That looks absolutely horrific. And then if you wanted to change the facial, you click facial hair, and then you would move that. But since they don't really fit the wolf, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide them, like so. And then I will go back. Now, you can choose many different heads, and there are some interesting ones, like this one, that you can choose that remove the ears, and that's actually useful for if you go to the ears section. Like there's elf ears and stuff like that. So we're gonna stick with the wolf head. And for things like heads that are attached to the main skeleton, you're probably not gonna want to change the location or the rotation too much. Although, much like the colors, if you so please, you can actually change the text here as well, just by clicking, entering what you want. I could do 0.5, but I'm just gonna put it on 0, 0, and there you go. Set it back to default. So all of these parts work relatively the same way. Yeah. Most parts work the same. And to kind of show you a part that you can locate and rotate and it's fine, for instance, it's these, because they're just attached to a socket. So if I just click one of these, right one, I think it must be in the head somewhere. So if I there it is. So I can move it up like that. Back.
I'm still learning. I hope you understand. I want to understand. I'm sorry.
Up. There we go. Wolfman's got a little piercing. Like so. Make it bigger if we want. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so there you go. There's an instance of how you would rotate that, scale it, all that good stuff. Now we will move on to... Let's see. Let's move on to functioning parts. So as you can see... Is this music, bro? Alright, so the functioning parts. There are quite a few functioning parts, and how you can tell apart a functioning part from a non-functioning part is, as you can see, there is a little check mark. If you hover over that check mark, it'll tell you not only that it is functional, but that it, what it does. Now, if there is a different symbol there, I think it's an X that it changes to, or maybe like an exclamation mark. That is if the ability is prevented. If it's either prevented via INI, or because you need to unlock something, because there's loads of INI options, I highly, highly, highly recommend you go to the mod page, discussions, and look at the INI if you're a server moderator, because there's loads of options. You can lock certain abilities, or any ability you want. You can lock behind unlocking an engram, you can make it mutually exclusive, so you can only have one ability if you have another one, so forth and so forth. I highly recommend you look at it. But this little thing here, this tooltip will tell the player what they need to unlock, or whatever, to get that ability, or to use it, or if they just can't, because it's blocked via INI. So yeah, that's functionality. And there's loads of different things. There's wings that let you glide, there's wings that let you fly, there's aquatic parts that prevent you from sinking while you're in the water. It's like water stability, essentially. It's very useful for building underwater. Let's see. Yeah, but there's loads of different parts. I highly suggest you try them out. And let's go ahead and look at those toggleable parts real quick. So I'm going to put on attack claws and climbing claws. R plus Alt. So, if I go out in the normal game and I hit Alt R? Was it Shift R? I don't remember. What did I set it to? Let's do Shift R. Yeah, if you have more than one toggleable ability, it'll bring up this wheel. If you only have one, it'll just toggle it. But we got climbing claws here, so I can climb. I don't get a lag spike. There we go. Oh, alright, or if I hold Shift R again, attack claws. There we go. And then you go like that to toggle them off again. So that's mainly how toggleable abilities work. Let's see, anything else? I don't think there's anything on the parts. So that's how you do all the parts. Now then. I know, this is a lot of shit, but just stick with me. We're about halfway through. So, next we have the bone customizations. I'm actually going to go ahead and remove all parts. No, actually. I'm gonna go to my arms and disable those. Oh, and parts coloring works just the same. If you didn't see this down here, it has different regions that you can select and color between. Super straightforward. Next we will move on to bone customizations. So let's say you want, like, after you've already created your character, it doesn't look exactly the way you want it to look. Well, you can go here and change it. So let's say we want to make him shorter. Let's see, lower leg. Let's lower, like, we'll just go like that, or copy that. The hips a little bit lower. So, arm, upper leg, there we go. And, yeah, there we go. Now, I'm gonna do something a little nuts really quick, just to kind of show you what this last one, body height, really does. Let's see, which one is it? Is it glutes that, yeah. Okay, so glutes really changes your leg height. So yeah, I know that looks really bad, but I'm not going for good looks. I'm going to show you what body height does. So if you make your character shorter or taller, and you encounter this, either your character floating above the ground, or their knees kind of like bending all the time, there is a way to fix that. You go in here and you play with this, the body height. So since I'm shorter, it's going to be negative, so let's try 1.5. And 1.5 seems to be what's pretty good. So now I'm not floating anymore. Yeah. So that's how you fix that. And since I'm not gonna spend time to go through here and like customize this, but it's very in depth. A lot of times you're not gonna want to be using this X slider, especially for things like the legs. As you can see how it's kind of like clipping through. You just kind of be gentle with it. Don't do extremes unless you want a character that looks absolutely nuts. And if you mess something up too bad, like I've done here, what you can do is you can go ahead and reset bone customizations. Yeah, I'm sure. And it'll set everything back to default. And now we got a regular looking Wolfo. That's bone customizations. Let's go ahead and move on to armor customizations. So, one thing that you can do is you can hide armor right here. And the reason that that's useful is, let's say you want these horse legs, which are total leg replacements. It's not going to hide with the armor because the UV maps don't match. So you just have to hide your armor. And if you wanted to do that, so let's say we had the horse legs. In fact, I'll just leave it on. I would hide the pants and the shoes. So now if I hit save and I go give that, let's see, whoops, I save. Well, fuck. That's a bug. I will fix that, but you should be able to hide your pants and so forth, and it should, like it is in the preview, for whatever reason, working. It should hide it even though you have that specific part equipped. So then if you go back in here and go ahead and hide the helmet, like so, it should hide the helmet. But it's not right now because... yikes. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the underwear. So, if you want to change your underwear the way that it looks, you can go ahead and choose any different style you want. If you want it to look like it looks in the picture, you can set to default colors, and it'll set it to the default of whatever you have currently selected. Like so. And then you can go ahead and color it however you want. Or let's say you want to remove it entirely. You can just hide top or hide bottom. Now, even though this is Kindle, so it's not technically nudity, if you don't want this, server owners, you can disallow players from being able to toggle these on and off within the INI. Like I said, always check the INI because there's lots of customization there. And that's about all for the armor customization tab. Once again, I will fix that bug, so don't worry about it. The last thing in this menu that I want to let you guys take note of is the Create Item Template button. If we go ahead and click that, you'll see that there's loads of different options here, and you can choose what datas to include. So you can include customized parts, bones, scale, player scale, body type, blah 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 blah, loads of different stuff. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna include all of it, and let's do default wolf. Additional description, yo. Default. Go. And you can see right there, we have default wolf, yo, I'm default, and then it tells you not only the data is included, but the parts that are included in the template. Other than that, so then what you would do is you could go and let's go ahead and change it, and add. Let's go to head bits and add some horns, and then legs, and let's make it have like some feathers on him. And then let's make a template. Weird wolf. Go. And then we have weird wolf. So what you can do, you don't have to put these in your hotbar, I'm just doing it very quickly. When you use it, it will have a 10-second cooldown, but it will load up the template that you set when you created it. So as you can see, I'm a beautiful wolfo with my legs and all that shits. So then let's say I wanted to go back, I just hit the other one, and boom, now I'm weird wolf. And there you go. So that's the templates very shortly. And of course, if you want to include less data, all you have to do is uncheck these. So let's say I only want to, well, I only changed the parts, so nothing's really gonna change. But anyways, checked or unchecked, that's, you can just find it very quickly. Name here, description here. Other than that, that is all that is in this menu. Now, because ARK is ARK and things may happen, if your buff isn't acting right, or like if your parts aren't loading right, or something's not hiding like it should be, before you make a bug report, the first thing that you're gonna want to do, actually, one of the common things is this says that it's customizing even though you don't have the menu up. One of the first things that you're going to want to do is you go to the mirror and you hold E, and then you'll see reload CE buffs. Now you shouldn't have to, but this is probably the first thing that you're going to want to try. So you hold E and then you click, you have to click it, and then it will take a few seconds and it'll reload your buffs. Now that went ahead and removed it because once again my save data on here are a bit weird because it is the dev kit, but no worries because I made a template. And just to be sure, you always want to go ahead and make a template before you reload your buffs. You shouldn't have to do that, but you know, ARK is ARK. So I always go ahead and make a template first. Then we will go ahead and move on to the admin things. You can pick up the mirror and stuff, but I don't own it, so give to me. Yeah, then you can pick up or demolish. But let's go ahead and move to the admin stuff. So if I go to the edit allowed parts list admin, only an admin obviously will be able to see and access this. But once they open it, you will be able to see all of the parts that are in this mod. And you will be able to individually check whether or not they are allowed. So let's go through what all these buttons up here mean. So firstly, this first one is to search for the specific head, and you will search by the part name. So let's say I want to find everything that has to do with a cat. And you'll see cat head, ears, all that shit, and I can go ahead and disable the ones that I don't want, or the ones that I do want. Let's say that I don't want the cat head. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is that technically in the parts list, for most parts, there is a part, one for a male and one for a female. Now some of them are for both, and you can filter by those with these buttons up here. So this one will show the ones for female or it won't. So let's say I want the ones with only female, and there you see the ones with only female, and then let's say I want the ones with only male. There you go, or the only ones with doubles. Like I said, there's a few parts that work on both. Now then, this one right here is the functionality check. So let's say you want to look at all functional parts. All you do is you click that and you can see all the ones that have functionality. Or what about the ones that don't? Click it again and it'll only show the ones that don't have functionality. But then if you don't want it to sort it, click it again and it's gray and it'll show both. Then you have this button up here. This changes all of your checked states to the opposite of what they are. So if everything is unchecked, it'll make them all checked, and if everything's checked, it'll make it unchecked. So let's say I want, instead of no cat heads, let's say I want only cat heads. Then that's what that does. Then we will save and exit. Now, after saving and exit on that, you want to give it at least, I think, 9 seconds for it to update it. And as you can see, it'll update all of the players live, but it takes about 9-10 seconds for it to fully update it because I don't want to update it all at the exact same time. But once it does, it'll, if it's not allowed, it not only won't show it in here anymore, but it will take off any previous parts that you have. Even if I try and load some of these old templates, it simply won't work. So the only part that I can put on is the head. But there you go. So that is the admin menu there. The last thing that we are going to go over is the cosplay scissors. Oh, I already had one. So the cosplay scissors, basically they work much like regular scissors. You can go up to someone. We're actually going to undo that, put my oh, it was hidden. No wonder I couldn't see it. Yikes. Let's put that back to normal. Okay, cool. So you can go up to someone, but obviously someone's not here, and you can just attack like normal, and you can get their hair, or you can do the right click and edit your own. And up here you will see the controls work just like in the other preview. And you can change the hairstyle here. You can change the hair length, and it shows your previous hair length. And same with the facial. You can also change the location and the rotation and all that good stuff. And lastly, the color. Once you're happy with, or your customer, I guess, if you're a barber, is happy, you can just go ahead and hit save and close. And if your hair length is less than the previous length on either or both of your facial and head hair, when you hit save and close, much like the regular scissors, you will get hair. However, if it's the same, or in this case, more, you obviously won't get any. Now then, I believe finally that wraps us up. Once again, I highly suggest that you check out the Discord. Discord, you will be alerted of mod updates and announcements. If you so choose, you can choose whether or not you want to be alerted for those. That's also where you get to see memes and hang out with the community, and it's actually a pretty nice space, as well as get any help or report any bugs that you may see on the mod. I'm always active, always willing to sit down and work with you to get a bug fixed. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the mod, and If you have any questions, write it in the comments, and I will see if I can answer you. And have a good one. Adios.